I held on too long, and all it did was hurt my daughter. My daughter had multiple congenital birth defects that led to a lifetime of complications. With medically complex kids, you fix one problem and create two more. She lived 11 years. It was probably 9 years too long. She lived most of her life in hospitals, literally months at a time. She would sometimes be home a week or two and then end up back in. I don't think she ever spent more than 2 consecutive months out of the hospital in her entire life, until she went on palliative care. She was more comfortable in the hospital than anywhere else. How sad is that? She was the warrior kid. That was her whole identity. Making cards for her nurses and decorating her medical equipment and being tough with a capital T. That was all she had. Never went to school, not in any meaningful capacity. Never played a sport or an instrument. Never had any real friends to speak of. Never had the health to take up any real hobbies. Just an entire life made up of surgeries, shots, and nurses, and fucking medical equipment to decorate. I gave her a pathetic life. There wasn't a single intervention I wasn't willing to put her through to buy more time. She was the happiest, most accepting kid I've ever met, but in the last 6 months, she was done. I refused to listen. She asked me over and over again if she could just stop. I would push until she shut up and went along with what I wanted. Why did I do that? She wanted to make me happy, but she knew she was done. Selfish. She died incredibly agitated and upset. I think she was scared to let go because she knew what it was going to do to me. I wasn't strong enough to let go. I'm so sorry. This story is a deeply emotional example of parental grief, moral injury, and decision-making under extreme stress. Parents of medically complex children often face impossible choices, balancing life-extending interventions against quality of life. The Authors Guild reflects anticipatory grief and moral distress, common in caregivers who feel they fail to honor their child's autonomy, even with the best intentions. Psychologically, this illustrates the concept of caregiver overextension, when love and fear of loss drive decisions that may conflict with the patient's comfort or wishes. The child's repeated requests to stop show a desire for agency, highlighting the tension between parental responsibility and respecting the child's lived experience. This confession also touches on trauma and survivor guilt. The parent feels responsible for suffering, even though the circumstances